Hello, Fantastic Beasts fans. Is it possible that J.K. Rowling might introduce a new magical being in Crimes of Grindelwald? Are we seeing hints of a genie? Or am I wishing on an empty lamp? I'm Susan Chapal with Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts to bring you the clues. Join me and other Fantastic Beasts fans here on the Beast Chaser Forum as we uncover the secrets, discover what's coming first, and play along with Rowling's newest game. In my last video on the newly released cover for the screenplay script book, I speculated that the central image here of the Eiffel Tower might also hint at a bottle, possibly a highly stylized genie or Jinn bottle. See the well here, the neck, and the stopper? Ever since the character Yusuf Kama was announced, I've wondered if Rowling might venture into some Muslim magic and introduce a Jinn. Could Kama be a Jinn or have connections with any? But there's so little evidence to go on to base a whole theory of a new inductee into the Wizarding World universe. I mean, it's just a bottle, right? The mere hint of a bottle, until I started looking more. For many people around the world, Jinn are real beings, much as angels are for some Christians, and I do not mean to be disrespectful of that belief. What I will talk specifically about is how Jinn might be portrayed as a fictional creation by Rowling. Stories, traditions, and beliefs about the Jinn are wide-ranging, from culture to culture, across various time periods, and depending on the literary source. My husband is Turkish, and so I am most familiar with Jinn stories that he grew up hearing in central Anatolia. For him, there are two types. The more familiar local Jinn seem a bit like demonic tricksters to me. They hide in old, dark, secret spaces and are not usually seen by humans, but can cause them a lot of harm. They seemed evil to him. Jinn were said to be faster and stronger than people, able to appear and disappear, strike you with a physical defect, and even possess the vulnerable. He said his grandmother used to tell him that if he did something he shouldn't, the Jinn would get him, almost like the boogeyman threats I grew up with. Then there is what he calls the Aladdin Jinn. This is the type most Westerners are familiar with, as they are based on stories gathered in 1001 Nights. This is the Jinn captured in the bottle, living hundreds of years, and capable of great magic and wish fulfillment. Other cultures and writings in Islamic tradition describe them as beings born of smokeless flame, who shapeshift and were enslaved by King Solomon to build his temple. Because of the wide variety of stories and traditions regarding Jinn, it's very hard to pin down exactly what Rowling would be drawing from to design hers, if she even is. However, if she is introducing Jinn to her universe, maybe we can find evidence among some of their common characteristics. Jinn possess magic, the ability to disappear, and superhuman strength. But this is all true of witches and wizards, so we'll have to look at other, more specific hints to Jinn, such as themes of imprisonment, appearing on plumes of smoke, physical possession, shape-shifting, longer lifespans, wish fulfillment, and 1001 Nights hints. The first and easiest comparison is a theme of locked-up power, aka Credence as an Obscurus. We see evidence in Crimes of Grindelwald that he is both raging at his imprisonment while also learning to control his powers. But there's also Grindelwald, who was imprisoned and is now breaking free to wreak more havoc. And then there's subtext. A year ago, I posted a video that analyzed how that pentagram at Macusa was linked to two Renaissance grimoires and wondered if Jinn might play a role. The Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon describe how to contain and control demons to use their magic, which is based on the belief that King Solomon imprisoned Jinn in order to build his magnificent temple. Indeed, Solomon captured the Jinn by the power of his ring, which bore his seal. In Renaissance ceremonial magic, this seal was described as either a pentagram or hexagram. For more detailed info on the pentagram and its subtext in the first film, see my earlier video, linked above. We all know if we watch any TV that Jinn appear on plumes of smoke. This image dates back to one of the best-known stories from 1001 Nights, The Fisherman and the Genie. When a fisherman reels in a bottle and breaks the Solomon seal, there burst from it a great column of smoke, which spread along the shore and rose so high that it almost touched the heavens. Taking shape, the smoke resolved itself into a genie of such prodigious stature that his head reached the clouds, while his feet were planted on the sand. Now, I want to show you something curious I've been pondering for months that Dalton Perkinson, a follower of this vlog, first picked out. Look, there, do you see it? The face in the smoke? Once Dalton showed me this first one, I was able to pick out others, including one that looks a bit like a grasping hand. Am I imagining things? Or are these simply hints at Credence as an Obscurus? Or of Grindelwald's victims, such as we saw in the Riddle graveyard? Or could all that smoke in the trailer and earlier image be hints of the Jinn? After all, Jinn are believed to live on a different plane, to exist just out of sight, something you might catch out of the corner of your eye. We also have a curious scene in the trailer of what may be a magical veil dance. While veil dancing is historical throughout the ancient world, it's not truly associated with the Jinn except in a couple of regional variations, which I've linked to in the description below. However, with those magical veils floating about her, the dancer in the trailer gives the appearance of twirling amid plumes of smoke that one could imagine started off closer to her and floated upwards as she danced. But what I'm even more curious about is if this woman could be Lorena Kama. Look, here and here. There's definitely a resemblance. How could Lita's mother look so young, though? With this illusion of dancing on smoke, could she be a Jinn? Are the Kamas Jinn? And if so, is Lita as well? Could that be the meaning behind that symbol by Lorena's name on the Lestrange family tree that I've been trying to figure out? According to legend, Solomon used his seal, a star, to capture Jinn. While this symbol has 8 points, does it hint that Lorena was captured or ensnared? One of the common fears people have regarding Jinn is that they can possess you. We've seen physical possession in the Potter universe before, when Voldemort possessed Harry at the Ministry of Magic. We've also seen Credence possessed by the Obscurus and what kind of damage it brought to others as well as himself. In my last video, I analyzed that skull figure at the top of the cover as a possible hint of having been bored into, trepanned, to release demons. I don't mean to imply that the Obscurus is a Jinn, because Rowling has already defined it as a parasite, but we don't know for sure what happened to the owner of this skull. Closely linked to possession, however, is shapeshifting. Yes, witches and wizards do this too, but they usually need a potion for human transformations. One of the forms most commonly attributed to a certain type of Jinn, a Sela or ghoul, is that of a beautiful woman. Maybe that can explain a curious find by one of this vlog's followers. Lally tweeted me over a week ago, "Sorry I'm so late," showing that actress Chloe Swan has been cast to play Queenie's doppelganger. What is that? I checked with Michael Cook, who runs a film review blog, to see if doppelganger was a film term for a stunt double or stand-in, and he said not to his knowledge. So this must be a character role. Lally wonders if someone could be trying to get to Tina or Jacob through the look-alike, or if her role could relate to this theme of time manipulation we've discussed. Thanks to both Lally and Michael, who I've linked in the description below. However, I'm wondering if the doppelganger could be a Jinn. Maybe this Jinn is being used to confuse where Queenie's loyalties lie. Is it possible that Queenie just caught a glimpse of herself here, knowing someone is impersonating her, and wondering what this could mean? Jinn are also noted for their much longer lifespans. Now, I'm not trying to insinuate that Flamel is a Jinn. We have that whole elixir of life thing going on after all. But he does introduce the idea, and with his long life, he could know some, couldn't he? Also, we've seen lots of hints of time and time manipulation in the series so far. There is one characteristic I've not detected, the granting of wishes. If Jinn only come to play in FB2 and beyond, perhaps we've not been given enough material, or perhaps Rowling is not including this aspect. Also, going back to my husband's knowledge, wish fulfillment was not part of the more local beliefs of Jinn that he grew up with. Have you seen any hints of wishes granted? Finally, there's the link to the best-known literary source on the Jinn, 1001 Nights. It seems appropriate that Jinn would be introduced in a film that takes place in Paris, as France is where 1001 Nights was first translated into a Western language by Antoine Galland and popularized Jinn for a Western audience. It's also in FB2 where we're first seeing several possible Middle Eastern or Muslim characters, such as Yusuf Kama. But I've also noted two actors with Turkish backgrounds. Tuncay Güneş is set to play a wizard, and Aykut Hilmi is cast as Shafiq. Each of these links alone may not be conclusive evidence, but together I think they form a compelling case. The key question I'm left pondering, however, is how could Rowling successfully introduce a new magical into her universe that was not even hinted at in Harry Potter? It's possible that the Jinn are not a separate being, but rather just a type of witch or wizard, like a metamorphagus. Remember, we went through 4 books of Harry's story not knowing metamorphagi existed until Tonks was introduced in Order of the Phoenix. But why introduce a new being? Could it relate to theme? Lupin represented the ostracization people who suffer from illnesses sometimes face. We're already getting a hint of this one with Maledictus. However, to me, a Jinn would be linked to Credence and his fight to use his repressed powers for good. Also, where Harry Potter was limited to Britain, Fantastic Beasts is more of a global work and should include magical beings not known before. Keep in mind that since Jinn are beings and not creatures, they would not be included in Newt's new book. What do you think? Are these real hints at a possible Jinn, or have I used up my 3 wishes? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. And please check out my newest release, Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts, the video book. I've linked to it in the description below. Until next time!